Time now for our fan sound-off segment, and for that, we found plenty of Yinzers up in Orchard Park, New York.
No doubt about it. In a matter of about 5 minutes, maybe, of you parking
Roughly
near Highmark Stadium, you found plenty of fans wearing that number 8 jersey.
And it was appropriate, too, for this week's question. Do you think Kenny Pickett will be the franchise quarterback? Your thoughts on Kenny Pickett? Do you feel like he's going to be the franchise quarterback?
I do. My dad, told me when he even first started playing that he thought that he was going to be the next big thing.
He's an outcast, I think, in the NFL compared to all the other quarterbacks that were drafted this year. But he was the most ready NFL quarterback.
What are some of the tangibles that you like about what Kenny brings to the field?
I like that he's mobile. And I believe that he thinks quickly out of the pocket. He doesn't hold on to the ball, and he makes decisions very quickly. So
you need the energy on the team. With no energy in a dull team, being all boring, you can't win nothing. You need the energy, you need the spark, and I think Kenny brings that energy and that spark that the Steelers are missing.
Do the fan base just have that patience too, knowing that it's a young quarterback?
I think so. We can get a little impatient in Pittsburgh, especially with quarterbacks. But, as the guy who just retired last year, number 7, we all know who he is. And I think he actually is going to play, if Kenny starts the rest of these games this year, he'll have the same exact season as Ben did when he was a rookie.
As always, lofty expectations, but there's a treat to hearing from everyone's point of view. Now we honor our fan of the week, and that honor goes to Vincent Murray of Pittsburgh. He moved to the Steel City following 8 years in the Army. The Akron, Ohio native fell in love with the black and gold going back to the years of watching Cordell Stewart and Tommy Maddox play. Murray has been dressing up in his gear for the last 3 years and travels to Steelers games if his schedule allows him to do so. He wears Arthur Moats' number 55 since the two have built a friendship over the years. By the way, don't forget to check out our Facebook page at Black and Gold today. And with our stomachs starting to rumble and seeing some of that food that you saw in the last segment with our fan sound off, it's a perfect segue to the lovely and talented Jessica Ryan.
No doubt. The temperature's starting to dip outside a little bit. There's nothing like a hot snack to have while watching the games on Sundays, though. Let's see what Jess has cooking for us here this week on Black and Gold Today.
Hey Steelers fans, I'm back with another really simple, easy, minimal ingredient dish for you guys for your tailgate spreads. These are ham and cheese pinwheels, and they're delicious. For this recipe, you're going to need refrigerated pizza dough, deli ham, mustard, you can either use stone ground, honey, whatever your preference is, shredded cheddar cheese, and some chives. Assembly for this one could not be easier. You could even get your kids involved to help. Mine like to sometimes. You're gonna just take the ham and layer it across the pizza dough until you have a nice even layer. You'll probably use 6 or 8 slices here, whatever you have. The flavor of the ham will really come through. Then you're gonna take the cheese, put this on over top of the ham, spread it out evenly, and then for the mustard, you can spread it on throughout. I should put this on before I put the cheese on, but we'll spread it out here. It all tastes the same once it's all done. The stone ground mustard is a little bit more tart. If you don't like mustard, you can skip it altogether. And then on top, we're gonna put some chives. The very easy part of assembly here is just to take the dough, flip it over, and roll it up. Keep rolling till it gets all the way to the end. You're gonna make sure there's not a whole lot of filling at the end so it sticks together really, really well. At this point, you're just going to slice up the pinwheels. You can probably get about 8 out of this. You're just gonna cut through that ham, and then when you place them on the side, you'll notice that they'll make this nice little pinwheel shape, and they'll bake up, and you'll see all of that dough kind of rise to the top. The next step is just to assemble them on your baking sheet. Again, you're gonna lay them just like this on a non-stick baking sheet. You're gonna bake the ham and cheese pinwheels on 400 for about 15 minutes. These ham and cheese pinwheels are delicious. If you're not a big fan of ham, you can use turkey, or you can switch it completely and use pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, anything that you want. The pizza crust is great for these. It holds up really, really well. I hope that you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you join us next week when I will be making chicken Alfredo dip. We'll see you then. Go Steelers.
Outstanding meal for Week 6. Thanks, Jess. And we'll have our Week 6 picks coming up next. You're watching Black and Gold Today. Welcome back to the show. It took 2 weeks, but somebody finally earned another towel for making a sound prediction in the game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. And Mike, as we go to the towel standings, our boss, Sean Lafferty, is officially on the board for the 2022 season with a towel as he edged out you with a final score tiebreaker. Both of you liked Buffalo over Pittsburgh. He liked it as 37-17. You liked it 35-17. So Sean guessed a little bit better than you did. Oh, so close.
I knew we shouldn't have let him be part of these picks,
I know, right?
Like, it's the only reason I don't have a towel. Come on, Sean. Killing me.
Well, there's always next week, and
Always.
that next week is this week. Let's take a look at those picks. And it looks like Kent is going to be the lone wolf on this week's prediction board. The rest of us, not so hopeful on the Steelers beating the Buccaneers at Acrisure Stadium. In fact, Kent thinks that Pittsburgh will be able to do it, but they're going to have to do it in the narrowest of margins.
He even told me off camera it's going to come down to maybe even a last-second Chris Boswell field goal. Could be something, some sort of magic here to get their first home win. But the rest of us, like you said, a little bit more pessimistic. Looks like 3 blowouts up there, and maybe Sean a little bit closer on that home matchup with Tampa Bay. We'll see.
Yeah, if it's going to come down to a Chris Boswell field goal, we did see him at the last home game kick a record-setting kick at Acrisure Stadium,
everything's
tying
on
a
the
career
table.
best
Yeah.
from 59 yards out. But hey, that's why they play the games.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll see how it all unfolds going into week number 6. Just a reminder, the Steelers will then be back on the road following their game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In week 7, they will go down to the south side of Florida and take on the Miami Dolphins. That game will be the Sunday night game on September 23rd, beginning at 8:20. Mike, your final thoughts going into this week's matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You were down at practice on Wednesday. What's the overall vibe knowing that they're trying to snap this losing streak?
I think they just have to come out and play loose and let Kenny Pickett be Kenny Pickett. Try to get some big plays down the field. And I think people were wondering when that first wide receiver touchdown catch is going to come. Hopefully it's this week because they're going to need big plays against a really sound defense that's going to try to create pressure up front.
How huge is it to start fast, too?
Yeah, got to get off to a fast start. That's exactly what they need at home against Tampa Bay.
We'll see how it all unfolds on Sunday. That does it for this edition of Black and Gold Today. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for watching. Join us next week for another edition of Black and Gold Today.
Gotta go back and look at the tape.
Yeah.